Hello guys, before we start our trip to the Western region to look for the parrots, we do something more on sustainable construction, uh, about historic construction. So this piece is from the historic church in Amedzofe, built in 1889. Of course, I did not take it from the wall. I picked it up from the gravel where the wall is already collapsing, where already a part of the wall was completely collapsed, as you saw in one of the previous videos. Now, when I look at this, it's pretty clear that this paint is lime. Yeah, it feels soft, typical lime wash paint. The plastering itself cannot be made with cement because at this time there was no cement, and this is historic. Then it could theoretically be gypsum, but I'm very skeptical because then it would not have lasted 130 years in the rain on the outside of the building. This is outside plastering. And moreover, since we can already see that this is lime here, why should the plastering itself not be made with lime? If they had lime, they would of course use it also for the plastering of the outside wall. But I want to show you some experiments with muriatric acid, HCl, hydrochloric acid, so that we get a proof rate. If it reacts strongly and if we see bubbles, then it is lime. If not, then not. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now I'm scratching a bit off from this white paint after cleaning it. So when I do that, I can already feel that it's lime wash, lime paint, pure white lime paint. But we want to get the proof with an experiment with our muriatric acid. It's not toxic, but it's still very dangerous because it's very acidly. Same for the gas that you get from the reaction, so better do it outside and wear gloves. Okay, so this is the white paint. Okay, that's the proof. This is lime. This is lime wash. We actually already were guessing so from the how it looked like. More interesting now is actually the plastering, the gray plastering. This is the gray powder from the plastering, and you see this is also lime based. So the binding agent of this plastering is again lime. It contains also sand. As far as I know, the Germans around 1900 and before, they got the lime from a part of this former colony that is now part of Togo. But not far from Amedzofe, there is a Kosovo, and there is limestone mining. Ghana Cement is using that for their cement production. Why am I so interested in lime? Because lime is not only the binding agent of the past, it is also the binding agent of the future. Because, for two reasons. First of all, environment. If you burn lime, you can use wood. This is an organic, sustainable fuel to burn it. The CO2 that is emitted when limestone is burnt will be absorbed again from the air when the lime wash, when the lime plaster, the mortar hardens. So this is a completely CO2 neutral process. Whereas the cement production, you need higher temperatures, more than 1400 degrees, and you can only do that in expensive industries with fossil fuel. And so you have to import fossil fuels to burn the limestone and make cement. And you also need cement clinker, something that is also imported to Ghana. So when we use lime, we can produce in a fully sustainable way with locally available resources. And then the second point, maybe even more important, is that the cement industry needs a lot of money. You need big investment. You need big industries. the people in the villages, they have to use their money to buy cement. But lime is something they can produce on their own, provided they have access to limestone. Because you don't need expensive industry to burn lime. You can build a lime kiln on your own. It's not so difficult. People have been doing it for thousands of years, and they're still doing it in many other parts of Africa. So this is something where you don't need big investment, and you can do it in the local community on your own. Build your own house, have your own binding agent, and produce it in a completely environmentally friendly way. So this is why I believe that this binding agent has a big future here.